everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk a little bit about some of the current 2025 energy that's going around. Because a lot of us are kind of finding ourselves in a bit of a stalemate kind of energy. I usually don't do energy reports, and I normally don't really, unless it's an eclipse. I try not to timestamp things in that nature for me. But I feel like this is something, it's more of a part of a process than the linear 2025 year it's happening in. And if you're in this part of the process, you'll find this video and you'll say, oh, this is where I am right now. And it's almost like a reevaluation of where you're going and what you want to do. And when you first get into ascension and you first go through your awakening and your ascension, you have a lot of big dreams and visions and things you want to accomplish for the collectives and things you want to do. And as you go through ascension and you go through a lot of your process through ascension, I don't want to tell you things get lost in it, but there's a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of clearing, and you can kind of find yourself losing the dreams a little bit and losing what you had set out to do in the first place. And it feels weird that you would go through so much and then you kind of feel like you get in this place where you don't even really, you don't know if you connect to that vision anymore. You don't know if that's what you want to do anymore. A lot of things you connect to, you don't anymore. And we always go through that in ascension, but there's a part of this where it feels bigger than that. You know, it feels sort of, it's like the core of the whole thing is starting to become into question, and not the core of how far you've gone or whether you're going to go back, because that's not a question, because the whole thing has been, your whole template of those realities has been torched, so there's really no going back. But how you want to proceed forward, and do the visions you had when you first started, whether it be 5 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever, are they still what you want to do? And when you start trying to come together with people, you have to really start to revalue that vision. And it was funny, I usually go on this monthly call, and yesterday was one of the first days I just did not feel like I wanted to go on and listen to the call. I was like, I'll listen to it later, you know, it comes in replays and stuff. And it was funny because it was about your dreams and visions, and I understood why I did not want to go on, because I guess I'm reevaluating them, and maybe I don't know the answers to that anymore, what they were, what they are, what I wanted to accomplish when I started, what I still want to accomplish. Does it still feel like that's what I want to do? Because when you start pairing off and coming together with different people to kind of, you have your own dream, and then you have how you fit into the ascended collectives, you know, what are you going to bring to that? And for a long time I wondered, I don't know, what do I have to bring to the bigger picture? You know, what do I want to bring to that? And you start talking with other people, different groups. I've done a lot more group work in the last 6 months than I've done in probably the last 6 years with various people, all throughout, you know, on YouTube or Instagram. And it's funny because you kind of really start thinking about let's splice that together. I could hear a cat scratching furniture. I'm like, don't do that. Stop doing that. I can hear you. Energetically, I don't know if you've even started it yet, but I can hear what you're about to do. All right. A little bit of levity. A little bit of levity in this one. So we can even say that, you know, as we start going through what are our visions, do they match with somebody else's? Because even though we're trying to build heavenly realities and heavenly realities and heavenly structures, in a sense, my vision of heaven and someone else's vision of heaven might not be the same visions. You know, someone else might think they want to, you know, be outside and live in nature for the next 10 years, and that's not my idea of, you know, heaven on earth. So you get into some of that, and we talked a little bit on the last video I did about the fourth dimension, and I've been focused a little more on that this year because I think a lot of the collectives are getting there, and it is a big playground to be in, and it lasts a long period of time. That's why where you start and where you end at feels so drastically different to me than any other dimension you start and end in, because the consciousness is so different, from where you start to where you're in, because you're in it for so long. Whereas some of the other ones, you don't feel like you're in them as long, because you kind of go through an aspect, or go through one part and you're on to the next part. But the fourth dimension is sort of that, it's almost like you're growing up, in a sense. And you're growing up through awakening, and then you're growing up through ascension. It's kind of two different periods, but it's almost like kindergarten to, 12th grade. And you're kind of, it seems to last forever, because you really don't, you don't really have anything else to really think about except that. And then, when you talk to a child about a day or how long something lasts, to them a week is like 100 years, and when you get older, a week feels like it's like 5 minutes, because your consciousness is it gets split off in a lot of different ways, and when you're in our human consciousness, we split off so much that everything goes faster and faster, and children, especially smaller children, they haven't quite done that yet. They haven't started the splitting off, and they're just really focused on that one moment, which to them is lasting forever. Because time doesn't exist anyway, and that's why it is so subjective to how long something lasts for one person and the other person. So as we start to go through reevaluating, and when you're in this part and you start to really reevaluate the bigger things, and it's not even just the things that make up your reality, and we talk a lot about reevaluating those things, like where I live and the people I'm partnering with, and those things. You're almost trying to reevaluate your entire vision and what you wanted to bring forth and what you wanted to participate in, and how you feel about that now. And is it changing, or is it just you've lost faith in being able to do it? And I know I don't like to use the word faith, but I want to bring faith up here, because it is kind of a wishful human word of I'm going to have faith, but I'm not really going to do anything to make it happen. Have you lost the belief it can happen? Maybe that's where we're going to go with it, because you spend so much time in awakening and ascension and clearing to get to the places where, okay, now can that happen? And then you're in a different reality, and we sidebarred here, and even though it is the most direct route, it feels like you're in a scenic route, but in a way we're not. The way our human wanted to go was a scenic route, and we never would have been able to get to where we were trying to get to anyway, because we would get lost in all the scenic back roads. But there is a time when we kind of feel like, wow, this feels like I'm on a scenic route, even though we might not understand until later that was the most direct route to what you wanted to do. But do you want to still do that anymore? And have we become disenchanted with the whole thing? And I think there is a part of disenchantment with the whole thing, because it's not how we thought it was going to go, and it starts going a little bit differently, and we're not progressing in any kind of linear fashion. We're progressing in a very non-linear fashion. And I don't bring up astrology too much, in general, because I do feel like it does shift a lot through ascension, as far as, we drop a lot of the aspects that are not our purest part of our signs, and we cultivate the ones that are pure and the ones that are going to help us with our ascension journey. But a lot of my signs were kind of very fixed and a little more linear. So when you start getting in all these non-linear roads, for a while, you can feel like you're just really off-roading. It's like, I don't even know what road I'm supposed to be on anymore. You're just going. I'm just going. I don't even know where I'm supposed to be. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just going. So I don't even know if there's much of an end to this one, or a point to this video today, but I did want to get on and just kind of express it a little bit and kind of talk through it, and to get anyone who's in this place. And you're going to find there's going to be different iterations of this place. A lot of people call it a template rewrite. They'll call it a void. I've done a lot of videos where I called it the void. This feels like a kind of a little bit of offshoot of that, but different, because it's questioning the core of what you started it for. And when you start questioning the core of it, not just the players on the board, the pieces on the board, and we can move some pieces off the board so we can focus on other pieces. We need some things to move off the board. We're going to bring on new things on the board. When you kind of start to question the whole board and what you were going to structure toward or structuring for, that's a whole different part of the process. And you might come to the thing, yeah, I still want to do that. That is still what I want to do. That's still something I feel like I'm supposed to bring forth. There's still a part of the collective I'm supposed to connect with. That still feels true to me. Maybe true is not the word I want. It still feels aligned for me to do that. Or you might feel like maybe that's not anymore. Maybe this is not, I need to flip the board over and this is not where this is where my ego kind of wanted to taint it in this direction, but that's really not where I want to go anymore. It's not really what I want to see anymore, because there are a lot of times along the way I had opportunities to go in a certain direction, but they were never quite aligned to go there. And so I would never kind of get in those directions because it was never quite aligned. So, all right, I think we're going to cut it off there. I'm not going to make a super long one today. I feel like when we're trying to navigate through questioning our vision, writing the vision down again and going through the exercise of just thinking about what was it? What, when I first started out, it's kind of like when you were kids and you say what you want to be, right? And then you get older and you're like, oh, I wanted to be an astronaut or whatever it was. I wanted to be an actor, or I wanted to be a leprechaun. It doesn't matter. Whatever kids, now a lot of kids want to be YouTubers. I want to play video games on YouTube, or that's what my nephew wants to do anyway. He wants to be a YouTuber now. But whatever you wanted to do, and you look back on that when you get older and go, yeah, I wonder why I never did that. Or is that still what I want to do? Because we go through different parts of our human consciousness where we start having the insights start to come in. We starting our awakening, where we start questioning our whole human existence. People call it a midlife crisis because those codes go on in a lot of people around the same time period, right? So it even has a name in the collectives where everyone goes haywire around this age, because that was kind of built into the codes in our body, that we're going to start to question stuff around this age. Did I accomplish what I wanted to? And think about this part of your ascension process is the same kind of thing. You're kind of doing a review. When I started out, did I accomplish what I wanted to? Is it still or if I haven't, is it still what I want to accomplish? Or am I supposed to go do something else? Or have I done what I was supposed to do? Even if it wasn't that, I feel complete in that section of it. So it's a lot of kind of rethinking, and not just meaning, and beyond the, like I said, beyond the players on the board. Don't get so stuck in the who or what in the reality. Start to really look at the reality itself and what you wanted to start creating, what you wanted to do, what you kind of thought you were supposed to do. And if it hasn't, reality has not teed up yet, is it because it's not aligned? Is it because I was not supposed to do that? Really start to look at the foundation of the whole thing. And what is that long-term goal? What is that long-term vision? What was it? Does it still feel aligned? And does it still feel like this is something I feel like I should be doing? So, all right. I'm going to go check to make sure the cat did not scratch that couch, and keep practicing the art of intuition.